Okay, so I guess we can start. So good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining this event today, which will deal with biowaste quality as a driver for high quality compost and digestate, in which we will deal with two different things. One thing being limit values to limit impurities in biowaste. And the second one, and more important even, a methodology to do the assessment for such. I will quickly go through the agenda. So we will have a short introduction to the LIFE BIOBEST project by Mike Stenevich. He is an environmental consultant at the End Foundation from Spain. Then I will introduce to a report that we presented in the scope of the LIFE BIOBEST project. My name is Steffen Walk. I'm the scientific officer at the European Compost Network. And then we will move on to practical experiences from 3 different countries and regions in Europe dealing with impurity control. First of all, we will start with David Wilken from the German Compost Quality Association. He's the managing director. Then we move on to Italian experiences from Marco Ricci. He's the senior expert at Italian Compost and Biogas Association. And then we will finish with Gemma Nuales. She's an environmental consultant at End Foundation, and she will talk about biowaste quality analysis in Catalonia. And with this, I would like to hand over to Mike, who can give a short presentation on the LIFE BIOBEST project.
Thank you so much, Steffen. Good morning, everyone. As Steffen said, my name is Mike Stenevich, and I will briefly tell you about the LIFE BIOBEST project. Let me just make sure I'm sharing correctly. Okay. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, works fine.
Perfect, wonderful. Okay, well, the LIFE BIOBEST project started about 30 months ago now. It is a 30-month project, and the 5 consortium members are all mostly present today in this webinar. The leading organization is Fundació Ent, for which myself and Gemma Nuales are a part of. We're based in Barcelona. ECN, of course, with Steffen and Helene, the European Compost Network. As well, we have ACR Plus based in Brussels, Cheek, for which Marco is the representative, and Zero Waste Europe, also based in Brussels. And together, these 5 organizations have kind of made it the mission to improve biowaste implementation and policy across the EU. So the project started in January of 2023, and we are 1 month away from finishing. And in total, this project is funded by the European Union as a preparatory project to address the legislative and policy priorities of the European Union. In particular, this project is based on soil and soil health, and increasing and enriching the quality of soils. So the way to do this in one part is to have high quality and high quantity of biowaste separate collection and treatment for that final end product, which compost or digestate, which can be used as a soil amendment in agriculture, etc. And in general, this project we can consider it a cross-cutting topic, the issue of biowaste, as it affects emissions, pollution, agriculture, fertilizers, production in general. So this topic covers many different topics within itself. We really have made it our mission to come at it from a cross-cutting angle to increase the implementation of highly effective biowaste separate collection and treatment systems. So with that short introduction, we'll just finish by saying that here are a list of our outputs. We've created many different guidelines, as well as tools, and which recently include our assessment matrix and the decision support trees. And then as well, we've also created the policy, a policy brief, as well as statistical analysis, etc. One of our kind of our main outputs of the entire project to represent our position is the EU comprehensive guidance. So we highly recommend that you take a look at the document at your leisure, and this document is also accompanied by a wonderful video that kind of sums up the entire project and the policy recommendations. Okay, so with that, I will return the floor to Stefan in the webinar.
Thank you for this short introduction. I will reshare my screen. All right, so in the scope of the LIFE BIOBEST project, we also created a report that deals with quality controls of the input material being bio-waste. And to set the basis, there's a background to it, which is within the European Union's Waste Framework Directive, Article 22.3, which states that by 2018, already the Commission shall request the European standardization organizations to develop European standards for bio-waste entering organic recycling processes for compost and for digestate based on best available practices. Until now, to our knowledge, there was no such European standard developed. So that's why we saw it as a mission within this project to give at least certain recommendations for introducing such standards. And as I said before, we're looking at this from two different angles. One being certain target values for maximum content of impurities in bio-waste. And here we have some bullet points presented that might be the reasons that require certain targets for bio-waste quality. And first of all, which is probably the most obvious, is that with a good quality bio-waste, you can only with this, you can produce high quality products at a certain threshold of impurity levels. You will have at least a lot of loss of good organic material in the reject fraction when you do the sorting at the treatment plant. It also, if you have a target for bio-waste quality, it opens the potential to hold waste generators responsible for the quality that they deliver. And also it would result in lower costs for the pre-treatment if the quality is higher. But also it can cover these limitations that you have in the mechanical pretreatment of the refining process. So these are certain reasons that might open the consideration to implement target values for bio-waste quality. And to have a certain standard in the assessment methodologies regarding the quality, it would allow more comprehensive comparability of data, the standardization of best practice cases and their comparison. And last but not least, also the potential to have certain streamlining and bio-waste valorization. And what we identified in this, in the progress of making this report is that among EU countries, there are not many that have a mandatory methodology or limit values for quality of bio-waste. So there's only a few countries, being Germany and Austria. Austria, actually, it's according to my knowledge, it's not yet in place, but they're working on their amendment of their ordinance. And then you have different countries that have certain methodologies implemented, and as a matter of fact, they became the standard in the country, but there's no mandatory use of such. So, and this is why we also decided to go for those who have a lot of experience to share this today, and move on with this with these experiences. So, and to just sum it up, what we produced in this report as recommendations, we discussed certain limit values, whether they become a threshold, or what would be the implications if they would become a threshold or a target from a legal point of view. Then that these values can relieve plant operators and give more responsibility to polluters. that we have to also pay a lot of specific attention to plastic impurities, as they cause the main cause for quality of compost and digestate at the end, and that these target values can always be connected with a bonus malus or tax refund system related to the delivered quality. Sorry. And we also have a recommendation for standard methodology, and we did certain points that we discussed in the end. Some general recommendations on the approaches, comparing a visual inspection versus waste composition analysis. We will hear some example about this later on. The certain coverage, so which types of waste should be covered, the sample sizes, sample preparation, the different waste categories that should be analyzed, the intervals of the quality of the quality analysis, and yeah, also make some reference to the financing of these analyses. And yeah, with this, I finish my introduction to the topic, and yes, would like to hand over to our first speaker today, David Wilken from the German Composting Association, and see what happened the last year or the last years in Germany to improve biowaste quality.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, my title, Very Long Experiences in the Preparation of the Amendment inside the collection. The oldest system is a metal detection, so metals and non-ferrous metals can be detected inside the biobin, but no plastics, but they calculate out of the metals which are inside how many plastics are inside. So there, the biobin before emptying in the collection vehicle, you get a number of how polluted the biobin is, and if it's too high, it will not be emptied. Then there's a method now with KI, with AI, so it's the German word, where you look with a photo, the biobin will be put on the vehicle, the cover is opened, and the camera just takes a picture of the cover of the bio-waste inside the bin, and from this picture, the system says, okay, the impurity content is above or below a special value. Here, not in the biobin, the control values I explained are not legally binding. This is in the this is in the plant. But anyway, you can, the system has different scales, so you can say when you reach scale number 10, we don't empty it anymore. Then the same possibility with detecting the picture, with the picture, the quality, the impurity content is also done in the vehicle itself. So, but this is after emptying the biobin inside the vehicle. The photo is taken inside the vehicle, but then you can see, okay, this biobin had an impurity content of this percentage, and the next time maybe you can talk with the people and say, here, your biobin was not okay, but then you already have the bio-waste inside the vehicle. The same technology can be done in the plant. So there are already first plants who do a photo of the delivery of the bio-waste in the plant, and then it can also directly detect the control value. Okay, the communication activities. I think this is the most important that in Germany we have the experiences. The first time you establish a separate collection of bio-waste, you do a lot of public affairs, then it works very well, and then nothing is happening, and then the quality is going down and down and down. So I think the key is a continuous public affairs. You continuously have to inform the people why it is important to collect a clean bio-waste. So this you can do with waste guidance. I think very important is the use education, maybe also with digital formats. You have to address the people in foreign languages as well, because in these areas, most of time there we have the highest impurity contents, because maybe they don't understand the system, and you just have to explain. The people have to be informed, but you have to use social media on Reels for TikTok or whatever, coupons for compost, that they get the compost for free, that they understand why they have to separate the bio-waste. Maybe the distribution of paper collection bags with information on the collection bags. You invite the people on the treatment plant to explain them why is it so important to collect the bio-waste. You have possibilities with the collection scheme. So how often is the bio-waste collected? Is it once per week? In Italy, it's even more. In Germany, most of times it's twice. It's only every 2 weeks. If this is so good for the citizens when they see, oh, the bio-waste is stinking so much and it's already 2 weeks ago in the summer, they stop collecting the bio-waste. So this is important. The size of the bio-bins, the fees. Is it more cheap to collect the bio-waste? Are there any incentives to collect the bio-waste, monetary incentives? If the bio-waste collection is tendered by the municipal, so when a private company collects the bio-waste, there are the first activities to give higher incentives if the bio-waste is cleaner. So you motivate the collector to look inside the bin and maybe only take the bio-bins which are clean, and give a feedback to the people. I think this is very important to talk with the people. And this is also good with the controls. If you send people on the street, you directly have contact with the people. You look into their bin, they're coming and ask, what do you do with my bin? Yes, it's very important. that we look for the quality because we want to make high quality compost. You have a garden yourself. Please help us to produce good compost. The automatic systems I already explained. You can do the tags on the biobins. There are apps where you can make directly a photo of the biobin, that if you do not collect their biobin, they directly call and says, here, I put my bin to the street, nobody took it. Yes, we have the photo here. There's some plastics inside. We see it on the photo. This is why we cannot take your biobin. So that the communication is really clear. And then, as I said before, the sanctioning is very important. You cannot do only controls if the quality is not as good as you need. You have to leave the biobin in the street. They have to sorting it. They have to dispose it to higher costs. Maybe you even take away the biobin. You're not able to collect in a manner which we need. So you should throw everything in the waste bin, in the mixed waste bin, and pay higher costs. And these all have to be allowed by the statute. So this is important that you have a legal base for it. Yeah, as BGK, we did different activities as well. We established a day of the biobin, which is next Monday on 26th of May. It's every year. All the municipalities or the waste collector, the waste treatment plants, they all can use this day for their activities. We have a platform on this page where everybody can put his activity. So if the press can look, oh, there are so many activities throughout Germany. So we try to use this day to address the citizens, which are maybe for whom bio-waste is not in the focus, and the idea is to use one day to address it. We have a newsletter every quartal, and there we always have practical articles, so to learn from each other. In this case, they used, for example, the automatic system, and they say these are the pros, these are the cons, so to learn from each other. There are campaigns in Germany which are helping also with communication packets. There are these Biotonne Deutschland and Wir für Bio, so they have a lot of experiences, so this can be used as well. And we created a brochure for children to explain why it is important to collect the bio-waste, but there's also a lot of other things inside, like prevention of waste in general, of home gardening, and yeah, it's a brochure to explain how important it is to be carefully with our resources. Yeah, with this I come to my conclusion. I hope I have kept the time more or less. Yeah, the impurities were dominating the discussion in Germany because of this case, which I explained in the river where all the plastics were. This was a very intensive discussion about impurities, plastics, and bio-waste, which was on one side very important because now I think we got a very good system where a lot of activity started, where we really get better quality of bio-waste. But what is, from my point of view, very important, compost or bio-waste is more than the plastic. The plastic is few percent. We should focus, this is our message for us. We as BGK want to focus more on the positive aspects as we did before. We have a high quality product, and this should be much more in the focus than always the plastics about which we talk. Yeah, the requirements on purity of collected bio-waste is new. This is something completely new to learn, but there are a lot of activities were set. We supported this with the determination of the impurity. So we needed methods also to compare different districts, to compare the input, the impurity contents, because this was in the past not the case. Everybody had their own system, and now we have a common system in Germany. Because of the amendment of the bio-waste ordinance, we have a high engagement of improving the impurity and the quality of the collected bio-waste. This is not everywhere the case, but a lot of activities have started, a lot of success happened in Germany, and this is really good that we have there a development to a much better input quality. Yeah, this was my presentation. I hope it was interesting for you and be available for all your questions.
Yes, thank you very much, David. I would say we organize it so we first have all the presentations, and then at the end we have a Q&A session. So this will bring us to our next presenter, Marco Ricci from the Italian Composting and Biogas Association, who will present the Italian national methodology for the assessment of biowaste quality, and also with a specific look at single-use bags in the biowaste that is collected. Please, Marco, go ahead.
Yes, I'll try to do so. Stefan, can you just tell me if you can hear my voice? That's the first
Very well.
check,
Yes.
the sound check. Okay, that's the first thing. And then let me share the presentation. You should see it now. I hope so. Just tell me
Yes.
because I can't see your faces. Okay.
I see
First
it
of
and in
all,
full
good
screen.
morning.
Perfect.
Okay, no, that's a good start. So from our side, good morning. My presentation will more focus on a methodology to assess a number of aspects which regards biowaste separate collection. I think it's worth underlining, and so also trying to connect to what David Wilken has showed us before, that methodologies and approaches have to be developed considering what is, I would say, the framework in a country, in a waste district, or in a waste region. Just to complement the information I'm going to show you in a moment is that Italy has an orientative target value for the quality of biowaste, which has been issued by the National Waste Authority, and which suggests biowaste to be sorted and collected with not more than 5% what we call physical contamination, so plastics, glass, metals. But that's a detail. Let us a little bit focus more on how this kind of analysis can be realized. There is a technical standard, which, by the way, is available only in Italian, but is also available free of charge. So it can be downloaded by UNI, which is the Italian national standardization body, equivalent to DIN, just to try to bridge between Germany and Italy. And I briefly translated, it's a test method for determining the quality of organic waste recycled through industrial facilities, which means composting or combined AD and composting processes. It has been published by end 2021, and of course it was promoted by CIC, by the Italian Composting and Biogas Association, and the working group at that time was composed by a number of members from the Italian EPA, so the Environmental Protection Agency, working for our Ministers of Environment, experts from labs, because very often, at least in Italy, waste composition analyses are tendered out to labs by local authorities. Of course, local authorities, so municipalities, representatives from municipalities or group of municipalities, and last but not least, a few representatives of municipal waste, solid waste companies, which means those in charge of organizing the service at the end. What does the standard address? It tries to answer three basic questions: what, which, how. So what information are we looking for? And which type of bio-waste are we addressing this methodology? And of course, most important, since we're talking about the methodology, it contains the how to prepare the information, how to perform the analysis. Just to focus on what we're talking about regarding the question which biowaste, Italy is collecting mainly two types of biowaste streams separately from households and commercial activities. On the left-hand side, it's food waste, which means all you can eat, so included meat, fish, and everything which arises when preparing foods and food left over, and a minor quantity linked also to climatic condition. We are a relatively warm country with areas subjected to heavily dry seasons. So the amount of garden and park waste, which is the picture on the right, is relatively low. And this methodology was written focusing on food waste first, so on the left picture, even if it can be adapted and used also for garden and park waste. What does the methodology contain? Well, it contains 4 basic things: a procedure to assess the quality of biowaste collected separately by households and commercial activities in urban dwellings, and which is intended to be recycled at AD and composting facilities. It also includes a procedure to assess the number and type of what we call disposal items, basically bags used by the waste generators to collect biowaste separately. And in that case, it addresses specifically the use of liners for the separate collection of food waste. It then tries to cover a gap which is existing in Italian legislation, since there is no legislation which is obliging neither local authorities nor recycling facilities to do a specific number of sorting analyses per annum. So what we did there, we were suggesting, it's not compulsory, a minimum number of analysis or sorting analysis to be carried out at recycling plants or at municipalities, depending on a number of factors. I'm briefly going to show you what these factors are during our presentation. So the first 2 parts are instruction about how to do that, and the point 3 and 4 are indications, suggestions to have a continuous monitoring of the quality of biowaste. Let's go to the first step, which is what David was calling a batch analysis or process. The batch analysis is the procedure for assessing the quality of biowaste from separate collection. So it contains the instruction for the preparation of a representative sample, depending on the size or of the mass of the amounts delivered to a plant. You can deliver food waste in vehicles which have a capacity of, let's say, 1 ton, but there are, of course, larger trucks which can deliver 5 to 6, even 10 tons at one time. So there is a methodology to explaining clearly how to prepare a representative sample. It also quantifies, of course, the minimum size of each sample, which in our case is around 130 kilos. And then, more important for the outcomes, there are instructions to sort physical contaminants into 3 main categories, which we call compatible materials, so those which can be and that can enter the biological phase, neutral materials which are accepted but normally are not falling into the category of food waste, and what we call the red ones, non-compostable materials or non-compatible materials, which of course are all the physical contaminants which would cause problems in the process and, most important, end up in compost or digestate, so end up in our soils. Again, to contextualize this concept very briefly, I summarize here a number of type of materials which are sorted out by hand during the sorting analysis and which fall into the 3 categories: compatible, neutral, and non-compatible. Well, I think it's probably worth starting from the bottom. So non-compatible materials are, of course, conventional plastics and carrier bags, items made of glass, metals, and other waste residuals, inert materials, stones, sanitary products for personal use, and others, batteries or something like that. I mean, it's a non-exhaustive list, but it's clearly it's evident. Everything which cannot be composted or digested should not end up into the food waste stream. The neutral material is a category of flexibility according to the Italian legislation. So, for example, it includes paper and cardboard, other than the one which is listed in the compatible material, because those materials, especially if packaging, should be certified to be compostable, to be allowed to be collected together with biowaste. It includes, of course, untreated wooden packaging, and that is obvious for every compost managers who know how strong we depend on the wooden fraction, the natural wooden fraction, to blend our initial mixture and to produce compost. And there are also some other categories which are non-food, basically packaging, but which are need to be certified according to our European harmonized standard. And of course, the compatible materials are first food waste, and then the different type of liners which are allowed according to the Italian legislation to be collected together with the food waste, plus some minor quantities like handkerchiefs, napkins, and household paper, which, according to our sorting analysis, are never beyond 0.7% of the total amounts of bio-waste delivered at the facility. To see how these instructions translate into results, I briefly prepared an overview, thanks to my colleagues of CHIC, about one of our most recent data, which go back to 2022. CHIC itself performs a significant number of waste composition analysis on food waste yearly for the facilities associated to us, or for waste authorities which request the consortium to perform the analysis. And these are roughly the composition of the non-compostable fraction or non-compostable fraction. So all items which are physical contaminants. And as you can see, the largest share are plastic bags, followed by glass, metals, and the category of inert and nappies, and the other contaminants, which basically includes a number of plastic items which are rigid packaging, but which are not represented by plastic bags. So it's a snapshot on an average value, but it gives you an idea of what this information, what this methodology can lead in terms of information and in terms of, let's say, contaminants which have to be addressed as a priority by local authorities. I fully subscribe what David was saying, that quality in our sector depends largely on prevention. So the cleaner the feedstock are which arrive to industrial composting or biogas and composting facilities, the better the recycling process and the recycling product will be. Let's go to the bags. Bags are an important factor in Italy since national legislation allows us to use only certified compostable plastic liners or certified compostable paper liners to ease the separation of food waste by households and commercial activities. So there was a need to having a clear assessment on the type and number of bags which are found inside the delivered food waste. It's a way of measuring the compliance of waste producers to, let's say, legislation and local instructions. In that case, the bags are divided into two categories, which are compliant bags and non-compliant bags. Again, if you want to see how to sort these bags, which are sorted out during the batch analysis, so it's an analysis which can be performed during the performance of the batch analysis, which I showed you before. Basically, the compliant bags are all those which are certified according to the European Harmonized Standard 1342. And the non-compliant bags are, of course, conventional plastic liners, oxo-degradable plastics, and also bags which sometimes are distributed erroneously but intentionally for the separate collection of bio-waste. In some cases, it still happens by local authorities which probably do not know exactly the norm. As written here, the table is not totally exhaustive. There are some few other examples, but basically it's a methodology which allows CHIC to identify up to 10 types of different categories of bags according to the intended use. Is the bag used as a shopper, or was the bag acquired for sorting waste? And of course, the type of materials. As I told you, compostable plastics, paper bags, and various types of conventional plastics. And last but not least, the methodology also classifies the bags according to the volume. Again, probably looking at examples and outputs makes the things more clearer. Here you have an output for, again, about the number of bags which are found in Italian food waste, classifying them into two main categories: plastic bags, the red ones, and compostable, which includes compostable plastics, and paper bags, which are the orange one. As you can see, out of 10 bags, roughly 3.7 are still not complying. So there's still some work to do, but the other ones, the vast majority, are compostable bags and liners. The same data allow us also to go into detail. I intentionally reduce the detail because they are a little bit difficult to evaluate on an online meeting. But here you can see the composition of the compostable plastic and paper bags per type of bags that is found. So you can see that the largest fraction we find are shopping bags, Then we find the green ones, which are bags which have been acquired or purchased intentionally by households to be used for collecting kitchen waste. And last but not least, fruit and vegetable bags, which are the smallest share of compostable liners. Actually, these results reflect Italian national legislation, which since 2012 has banned conventional plastic shoppers from the Italian market. And since 2018, also fruit and vegetable bags, which can be found in supermarkets, must be compostable, so to speak, either made of paper or compostable plastics. And again, as you can see, these two single-use items are used quite frequently as a liner for sorting food waste. On the right-hand side, you can say that of conventional plastic bags, so the wrong ones, which are found in our food waste. And again, collection bags are to be found at a much larger percentage compared to shopping bags. So we know that there is some work to do also in terms of advertising communication to tell people who erroneously buy conventional collection bags in supermarkets to not to use them for collecting food waste. Of course, these are average values on a national level. But these values are available on a district level or on a regional level. And of course, they are available to the facilities at the level of the municipality, which has been analyzed, but which I cannot show you now. Going to the suggestions and to the drivers to drive facilities to perform a rigorous sorting analysis, this is the proposal that we developed in this methodology. And as you can see, the table is unfortunately in Italian, but basically it tells you on the second row the number of analysis or campaigns to be performed according to the amount of food waste treated in each facility. The concept is the larger your facility is, the more number of campaigns you have to do per annum. And the last row puts a minimum number of analysis or of batches of food waste that have to be analyzed for each campaign. So basically, it's 20 batches or 20 municipalities, if you want, that have to be analyzed for each campaign. As said, it's not a compulsory legislation because this is not what can be performed by a standard methodology, but it's an indicator to drive facilities to regularly perform sorting analysis. The same approach has been done by addressing local authorities or municipalities. Again, looking at food waste, we suggest local authorities to do a number of sorting analyses, the larger the resident population is. And in case of very small municipalities, which are below 5,000 inhabitants, we increase the number of analyses for those municipalities which are classified according to the Italian Istat, which is the National Statistical Agency or office. Well, if you have tourists on your in your municipality, you probably have at least 2 different situations during the year. So we suggest to do a minimum of 2 annual assessments to be sure that you catch the variation in terms of quality of what is collected separately. This was a concise overview of what this methodology contains. I will share the slides after this presentation through the BioWaste portal, and I will also add an HTTP address where you can find the link to the methodology if you would like to download it yourself. In that case, I have to warn you that it's available all in Italian, but I guess with artificial intelligence, you can do a roughly acceptable translation. Thank you very much, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you very much for this concise presentation, Marco. So let's directly move on to our last presenter for today and then open the floor for questions. We have, as I said, Gemma from Fundació End, and she will present the methodology that is applied in Catalonia and also some implications on bonus and malus systems that they implemented some years ago.
Thank you, Stefan. Good morning to everyone. Let's try to share. Let's see if it works.
Yes, works fine.
Full screen?
Yes,
Yes?
perfect.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, perfect. So yes, my presentation is focused on Catalonia scheme. Catalonia is managing biowaste since 2008 because it was mandatory for all the municipalities, and linked to this separated management, the waste agency introduced some scheme to monitor and to follow up the quality, but also the quantity. So my presentation is focused on this scheme. As mentioned, the waste agency is the authority in charge of waste management in Catalonia, and created a data management platform where they manage all the information regarding waste management in the autonomous community. And especially for biowaste, there is a specific section where the information regarding quantities collected and sent to facilities, and also the quality of these flows are recorded and also are processed and managed. So it's important to say that the waste agency focus the follow-up of the quantities, considering the circuits. The circuits can be individual collection circuits for one municipality, or joint collection circuits for more than one municipality that work together. In big municipalities, large municipalities, there can be different collection collection circuits, dividing the municipality in some different sections. And the circuits also are collecting household biowaste or commercial biowaste, or mixed flow, considering household and commercial waste. But the management of the information about circuits, it's a big issue, because you have to update continuously this information on the platform regarding new registers, change of the model that is applied to biowaste collection, door-to-door, closed containers, and so on. So it's important to have this overview of all the routes that are operative in the territory. And if we focus on quality, quantity monitoring, the waste management, the waste agency needs to receive the information from the operators, the facilities, regarding the quantities that enters to the biological treatment facilities. And we have information for each facility, for each circuit, but also the information is provided considering the tons collected each month. So we have monthly reports provided by the operators, and then the waste agency validates this information, because then we will explain that this information will go to introduce the reform scheme. Apart from that, facilities should also provide the quantities and the type of outputs that results from the treatment process. Regarding quality, it's a big scheme in this sense, because all the circuits are analyzed each trimester. So it's important, because we will have an overview of the quality of each one of them 4 times per year. And this information is now provided by the characterization companies, because there are some of them, and then again validated by the waste agency, because they have to be sure that everything is okay according to the protocol. Okay, so in total, nowadays we have 625 biowaste circuits operative, with these 4 controls per year. a total of 2,100 controls per year, and since 2005, more than 28,000 quality controls are available. In Catalonia, there are 6 characterization companies operating in the territory to analyze and to provide this information to the system. And as I mentioned, they have a clear protocol of characterization that also is updated according to some additional needs regarding new elements or new situations that can happen, for instance, when we have COVID. So it's important to understand that these are an important scheme that analyzes a lot of circuits and with a lot of details. According to the protocol, as I mentioned, there are a list of fractions that are separated and analyzed during the characterization session, and we have the organic fraction elements, food waste, small not woody plants, other materials not included above that maybe is compostable items, and then we have garden waste. But then we have the list of 11 fractions that are the impurities, considering glass, paper, plastics, plastic bags, ferric metals, non-ferric metals, textiles, sanitary textiles, hazardous waste, and bulky waste, and others. So these are long lists, and these elements are separated in the characterization session. This is the steps and the protocol applied. First, they have this extraction of bulky material, if there is any. Then there is a homogenization of the material with the shovel or tractor. Then we have the sampling and quartering to get a sample of 250 kilos. Then the bags are open and we have this initial weight of the sample, and then the selection process starts with the separation of each item in different containers with this previously tarred. And then for each fraction separated, we have the weight, and the data is recorded into a form, and then we have digital photos of each of them. So with this information, the company applying the analysis upload all of the data and the photos to the platform, or that is the platform from the waste agency, and then there is a validation process to confirm that everything is okay, and there can be some amendments or rejection of the bulletins if there is some mistake or some not compliance with the protocol. And finally, and the most important part is that this information is accessible for all the municipalities and also for the public in general. So there is a huge amount of bulletins available, and also the municipality can be aware of the results and apply measures if there is some problem regarding some type of impurities or some problem with the collection circuit specifically. And then finally, it's important because the waste agency also takes care of develop this direct contact to the municipality in case that they found out that there is some incidences in the circuit or high impurities, or there is a increase of the impurities in some periods. So they have this direct contact to control and to apply measures if there is any problem. Here you can find some photos of the quartering, also of the results, food waste, impurities. Also, in some cases, they analyze food wastage to know that the quantity and the proportion of this part of food wastage. Then we have green waste here, so there is a lot of information that you can see or the municipalities can find in the bulletins. That here you have a sample of a bulletin considering this general information about the circuit, the type of collection, the facility of reception, the time that the sample arrives to the facility, the characterization day and hour, and so on. And then the second part of the bulletin is the list of fractions with the kilos and also the percentage with some observations if there is some specific findings. Also, there are qualitative analysis of the quantity of compostable bags. And finally, they include the photos for all of the fractions separated, and also the batch and the sample. So here you can see, you have an overview of which impurities are found, and also the proportions. And with all of this information, the waste agency have a lot of knowledge about the quality, the evolution of the bio-waste collection. And as you know, and here you can see there are the quality is quite good. It's under 7.5% of impurities in average. Then they have also a clear overview of all the materials that are impurities, especially as mentioned, plastic bags are in the focus. So there are a lot of records about this fraction and the quality. And the most important issue is that all of this work and all of this information regarding quantity and quality is linked to the landfill tax and refund scheme. And as you can see in this figure, there is a landfill tax and incineration tax in Catalonia. And then with the revenues of this tax, they return some part of the money to the municipalities according to the quality and the quantity of the bio-waste collection. So there is an incentive to collect more quantity, but also more quantity of this bio-waste. So it is important because there are economic incentive. And also it's important to mention that with this money collected from the tax, they can pay for the characterization because it's a big amount and a big contract during all the year to analyze all of these circuits. So this is covered by the landfill tax. So it's important to see the final use of this information. And here you can find some details about the calculation parameters regarding the refund scheme applied for bio-waste. The waste agency uses a treatment concept and also a collection concept. Here you have the amounts and the calculation formula, and always is based on the net tons. So according to the results of the impurities analysis, they can discount these impurities to get these net tons that are the tons that are included in the calculation. And especially regarding the collection concept, it's important to say that there are this quality correction factor that you can see in this graphic based in a formula. So according to the impurities, they recalculate the formula to obtain the final amount that will be paid. And there is a control value, a maximum value, and over 11.5. This information was from 2024, and that circuit is not receiving any refund because if they exceed this amount, the refund is not granted. So it's important to say that this is a penalization. So they will that trimester are not covered by the collection concept because of the high level of impurities. And finally, for those municipalities with very good quality, under 3% of impurities, they have a bonus of 10 euros per ton added to the final calculation. So there is a positive incentive to have these really good qualities, especially in the framework of door-to-door schemes or some similar schemes. So it's important to say that all of the previous analysis and data management ends in the calculation of this refund scheme with these parameters and these elements that takes into account the impurities to provide this bonus-malus incentive. Okay, and finally, we want to jump to the debate, and together with Stefan, we'll list some key questions to be discussed. And I can read all of them, and then we can pass to the debate. How to harmonize protocols at EU level, which fractions, the kilos of the sample that we need, for which circuits, batches, circuits data management also it's an issue. what frequency, number of controls per year, who should pay for this analysis. And finally, these results should be linked to bonus or malus penalties, limit controls, refund schemes, variable gate fees, and so on. So with this information, we can now apply this bonus malus incentive. So I will stop sharing so we can see faces to discuss.
Yes, thank you, Gemma, for your presentation. So as we said, so these the questions that were raised by Gemma, they can be considered as food for thought. So if you would like to make a comment on this, or maybe also comment on experiences you made from your local context, please go ahead. But we also have one question already in the chat. So if you have questions, you can also put them in the chat, of course. So maybe this can be answered by Gemma and Marco. Michael Kern, he was asking, is it correct that in Italy and Catalonia, compostable material, including packaging material, is permitted as neutral material for biological treatment?
I hope you can hear me. I'm trying to reactivate also the video, and I hope both are working.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, the answer is correct. Compostable plastics packaging, according to Italian legislation, are allowed, including liners, to be collected with food waste, provided that they are certified according to the European harmonized standard, which I quoted. So they would not be counted as impurities, physical impurities, if this is the question. And I guess that is the same, but Gemma may confirm or not, for our Catalan colleagues.
Yeah, the same as I'm show you in the table regarding the fractions separated.
Stefan, if I may try to address the first question that Gemma has shown in her last slide, how to harmonize protocols at the EU level. This is a tough activity to be done. You need, I guess, a European project on that. But besides harmonizing protocols, I think it's important to harmonize the output of a protocol. It was very clear from the picture shown by David for German bioabfall or bio-waste, and for the pictures shown by Gemma for the Catalan food waste, which is very similar to the Italian, that very often we are not analyzing the same type of bio-waste. What we are all interested is to assess correctly what type of contaminants are there and what categories they are caused, they are coming from, and how to address these. So I would suggest harmonization should start from the result of the protocols and not from the protocols themselves.
Very good. Thank you. Gemma, do you want to add something on the from the Catalan side about the compostable materials, how it's done there?
We are not promoting the compostable materials. I mean, also only the compostable bags to collect bio waste, and then these compostable bags and all other type of compostable certified, if it's possible, are classified as neutral materials. Yes, so it's not up. They are not in the list of impurities.
Okay. So we have some more. Oh,
is
yes,
it possible
sorry.
to put a question? Hello, everybody.
Yes.
A question is regarding Catalonia and Germany, because of course I know about Italy, how are the rules. Is even in Catalonia compulsory for a bag to be certified by a third authority, or like in Germany, it's not compulsory, first of all. And then I'd like to ask the German expert, if you don't have a compulsory compostability certification to be requested, how could you say that a paper bag is compostable and don't given bad effects on the compost? Thank you.
So if I understood it correctly, the question was raised to David. David, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you, but I have to leave my office. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think the question was on the paper bags. We have clear specifications on bioplastics for the collection bags, what they have to fulfill. We do not have them for paper bags. So there's no certification still on paper bags in Germany. If this is a question, if I understood correctly.
Yes, I
Yes,
think that
this
was
was the question. And the question was, how could you say that a paper bag is compostable if it's not certified? Because, you know, it's not just like the paper. It's like glues, inks. I tell it because, you know, yeah, I am a certified paper bags for biowaste producer. And so in that country or in France, we always facing that kind of problems. And we don't understand why a compostable paper bag should not need to be certified by the third parties. And there is no a law which asks for a compulsory of this kind of stuffs. Thank you.
Yes, I understand. Carlo, we meet in 2 weeks in Brussels. I think this would be a good place maybe to communicate again.
Of course.
Yeah. We expect the paper bags to disintegrate during the composting process. But of course, as you mentioned, we have already a lot of questions on the additives used in paper bags. And I'm
And sorry, what about Catalonia? Is it compulsory to be compostable for both bioplastics and paper bags, or it's just an auto declaration that you can make? Thank you.
Yeah, from the waste agency. Sorry. Yeah, in Catalonia waste agency, and when there are some grants and the only promotion is certified compostable bags to collect biowaste, municipal biowaste. We don't normally use paper bags, so this second element is not applied in Catalonia. But yeah, when there is some public money to buy bags, they should be certified, of course. And if there are some bags that are not certified in the analysis, they are included in the framework of impurities for sure.
If I may address it to Gemma, this question, sorry. One thing I think is worth stressing, but which you said in your answer, is that in Catalonia, local waste authorities are still handing out bags to households if there is money, as you said. Is that right?
Yeah, because waste agencies in the scheme of the money from the tax, they have the refund scheme, but they also provide grants to implement campaigns, to buy materials. So when there is some grant in the framework of this grant, the protocol of the grant is to provide bags, certified bags. If they are not certified, they are not eligible, and the general approach is promote certified bags for biowaste collection. Sure.
And that is what I wanted you to say. I mean, that is, from my point of view, a wise approach, also linking to what David Wilkin was telling us before. So making compostable bags, being it paper, being it compostable plastic, in both cases certified, so to avoid any type of chemical contamination or additive contamination, to households makes the scheme cleaner from the beginning. I think this is one important aspect that both of you have underlined. Italy was adopting this approach until the end of the 90s, and then by 2012 we had this ban on conventional shopping bags, so we went for another into another direction. But as you can see also from the Italian data, when you find up to 4 bags out of 10 which are not complying, there is a need of addressing information to households and probably starting in some areas to redistribute the proper bags. So I'm not discussing if it's paper or compostable plastic. I want them to be truly compostable and safely compostable. And I think Catalonia's approach in that case, being really managed very well by a regional authority, has also the financial aspect, which Gemma showed us very clearly.
Yes, perfect answer. I think that's also brings us to the end of this webinar today. Unfortunately, we could have discussed way more. I just want to mention, if you have some further questions, I see there was some more questions in the chat. You can send them to us. We will try to answer them. There will be a recording of this meeting as well made available. We will also share the slides for you. And yes, I would once more like to thank you very much for everyone who joined the meeting, and hope to see you soon, especially in Brussels, where we have the final project meeting on the 5th of June. Gemma just posted it. So I guess I will see some of the faces that were present today also for this meeting.